Hello everyone, my name is Tosin George. I'm a data scientist living in Lagos, Nigeria. You're welcome to the second video in the series of the Riby Financial Data Visualization. We started last week with the first video, and if you have not seen that, I'll put a link in the description box so you can go and watch it. I also like to say a big thank you to all the viewers of the first video, especially to those who subscribe. That's a dear thing to my heart. Thank you so much for contributing and supporting my journey in data science. I'll continue to work to bring you more of these visualizations. All right, so let's get started into what we have for today. So I'm just going to do a brief recap of what we did last week before we start today. So last week, as you can see on my screen, we did this together. Remember, we did this together. We learned how to put in our data set. That's what you have here, the Riby data set. We learned how to create our titles. We learned how to use card visualizations. We learned how to use our slicer. You can see here. We learned how to use maps and put in legends. We learned how to put in our bar charts and then putting our data labels. As you can see the numbers here on the bars. We also learned how to put in our insights. We basically just use a text box for that. And we also understood or we learned together, the importance of putting in insights, especially when you're not going to be there to present your visualization, right? Especially if, for example, if you have downloaded this as a PDF format or a PowerPoint slides, it'll be very interesting, very useful to have your insights therein. So without wasting much time, I'm just going to go to the second page and then start proper what we have for today. So today I want to sort of explore the revenue and profit trend in my Riby data set. I want to see how revenue and profit has grown, particularly across, the top 10 countries, top 10 revenue generating countries and the bottom 10 revenue generating countries. And then I will show my insights, right? So remember that my insight doesn't have to be like yours. So we all see these visualizations differently. We would have similar, views, but then it doesn't exactly have to be the same way I have rating it. So what I want to start with first is the title. So we know how to create title by now. We're just using our text box. So this is the text box. I'm trying to adjust the size of the text box. So make sure that it aligns properly. So for this, I can just write in revenue and profit trend. So I can see revenue versus profit trend. Let's just do revenue and profit trend. Okay, so the same thing, I like to make it bold. My size, make it 24. Also put it in the middle. Okay, adjust the size here a bit. Great and perfect. So then I go to general, I go to effects. Hope you remember this now. Because the color is currently white, I want to make it blue so that it fits what's on the previous page. So we have that there. I don't want to change transparency. I don't want to put in a visual border. I also do not want to put in a shadow. So I'll just leave it as it is. Okay, so I can just do a bit of adjustment to this again. Yes, perfect. So the next chart I want to use here is a pie chart, or rather a donut chart. And what I want to show is basically just the total revenue by the region. So how much revenue are these regions bringing in? So what do? I go to my visualization pane. I click on donut chart. So you can see that there's something right here. And so just waiting for you to put in what you need to put in your columns. So right here, I'm just going to go to my Riby data set so I can see all the columns showing in. So remember, I wanted to visualize total revenue by the region. So I'm going to put in my total revenue. Just click on total revenue, check on that. So you can already see this, but then I want it by the region. So I'm just going to click on region and move it to where I have my legend, and voila, you have it. So this is it. So I'm just going to adjust the size, right, to make it look better. So it's clearer. Everyone can see what I'm trying to say. Right. So to format this now, I don't even really think it needs a lot of formatting. I think I just want to change the title. So I'm just going to go to my format your visual, right? And then I go to general. If I go to general, I go to title, and I'm able to change the title of my donut chart. So the title I want to put here is total revenue, total revenue, total revenue by region. Okay, so I'm going to make this bold. I'm also going to increase the size of this. Okay, I think we stuck with 15 the last time, so I'll just stick with 15. So this works for me. I like to see the labels the way they are. So I like to see the total revenue. I also want to see the percentage. So this works for me. You can take it out if you want, but this works for me. I'm just going to leave it there. Right. So if you want to take it out, you can just come to your visual here. You can see the detail labels, so you can remove it, take out the values. Well, I like what I see, so I'm just going to leave it the way it is. But you can explore on your own and decide how you want this donut chart to look like. So the next thing I want to see is I want to see the top 10 countries. What are the top 10 countries by revenue and which region do they belong to? So what I'm going to do is to go to my visualization pane where I see all these visualizations, and then I'm going to click on my bar chart. Okay, this is the problem I had the last time. It's really not a problem, but it's just a case of not um clicking out before imputing a new visualization. So let me go back to what I had here. This is what I have here. So I'm going to click out. So just to be sure that this is not active, then I'm going to click in another visualization. Perfect. So this is what I want to see. So let's go on to creating this visualization. So what I want to see is or which countries are the top 10 revenue generating countries. Right. So that means we need our countries and we need our total revenue. So I want my countries to be on the x-axis rather. So I'm just going to check countries. If it doesn't sit on the x-axis, it's not a big deal. It's not a problem. I'm just going to move it across, right? But it's totally sitting the x-axis, so I'm fine with that. Then I'm going to move my total revenue to my y-axis. So you can see on the screen, these are all the countries and by the revenue. So it looks as if there's no difference. And that's just because the revenue across these countries are very close, right? So by the time I put in the data labels, you see that there's quite some difference. So this is showing me all the 185 countries we have in our data set. But I just want to show the top 10. So what do? I go to the filter pane. This is my filter pane right here. Click on the filter pane. You already have filters on the visual. You have the country, you have the sum of total revenue. That's already there. So I then go to my country. So see where I have country because I want top 10 countries. So I'm going to go to where I have country. I'm going to click on this arrow here. So clicking on the arrow, you see basic filtering here. If you click on this arrow further, you see advanced filtering and all. I'm going to click on top N rather, because that's going to show me the top or bottom as the case may be. So you can see on the show items, you have top, you have bottom, but I actually want to just show the top. So I'm going to leave it at top. Then here you're supposed to put in the number the number you want. So is it top 10? Is it top 5? Is it top 20? Is it top 23 or top 13? As the case may be. In my own case, I want top 10. So I'm just going to do 10 in. So the next field here is by what value do you want this top 10? I want top 10 by total revenue. So I'm just going to take total revenue from here. I'm going to drag it all the way into data fields. And then I'm going to click on apply filter. So you can see my top 10 now. Right. So very easy, very easy to do. So I'm just going to move this so that I have a lot more space. So this is my top 10 right here. I can just do an adjustment so everything sort of aligns here. So we have this here. So let me just try to move it a bit. Okay. So you can see the top 10 countries. You can see Rwanda, you can see Maldives, Namibia, all of that, and so on and so forth. Well, what I also want to see here is I want to see these countries, I want to see the regions that they belong to, right? So what I'm going to do is to drag my region into the legend field. So I'm going to take region. You can see perfect. So this is what I want to see. So I can see that, oh, two countries from the sub-Saharan Africa are represented in top 10, right? Two countries from Asia are represented in top 10. I can also see that two countries from Europe are represented in top 10. I see no country here from North America. So, that's already, helping you form the type of insight you'll be telling here. So this is what I want to see. It looks very close, almost looks similar as if there's no change, but I tell you there's actually a difference, and our data label will be the one to help us, tell the difference between these labels. Okay, so I'm just going to adjust the size of this a bit. Our usual customization. So I'm going to go to format my visual. For the x-axis, I think I can take out the title so I can save on space. So I'm just going to take out the title there because it's glaring that those are countries, right? Okay. Another thing I'm going to do is just change the title of my y-axis. What I currently have there is sum of total revenue. So I'm just going to change the title. What do I want it to be? I think I just want total revenue. Or in your case, you can just put in revenue. I want revenue sitting there. Yes, so we have that there. I can just make it a little bold. I don't think I want to increase the font size, so I think I'm just fine with what I have there. So that's that for the y-axis. The other change I want to make is the data labels. So you can't really tell, which you see that this is top 10, but you really can't tell the total revenue by each country. So I'm going to use data labels to put in those numbers. So you can see the data labels here, but it's still very close. You can see 3.8 billion, 3.8 billion for Maldives, the same for Rwanda, the same for Namibia and Serbia and Yemen and so many, Singapore, St. Kitts and Nevis. So what I'm going to do here is just to increase the size, or rather increase the number of decimal places. Okay, so I'm going to go here to data labels. I'm going to go to the values. And right there, you can see the display units is in billion. I think it's fine in billion. So I'm just going to change the value decimal places. I think we can start with 2. The 2 is still pretty close, but there's a slight difference. I think I'm just going to use 3. So you can see with 3, you can see there's actually a difference. It's very close, but there's still a difference. So that's how to do the bar chart for this visualization. Well, that's how to do this visualization. One thing I'll just change is the title of the visualization. And for that, I'm going to go to general. So under general, I'm going to go to my title. And I think for this one, I'll just like to put in top 10 countries by revenue, the total revenue. Top 10 countries by total revenue. Yeah, I hope I got that correctly. Perfect. So I can make this bold. I can increase the size to 15 so it stands out. So this is what I'd like to see. So I'll just adjust it because I know that I want more visualization. So I'm just going to adjust this a bit. The next visualization I'll be doing is the bottom 10. So don't want to repeat the customization I did for this. So I'm just going to copy this visualization and paste. So how do I do that? It's already active. I'm just going to click on Control Copy and Control Paste. So you can see I've done that already. So this is where I want it to sit. I can try to adjust this a bit so that I have a bit more space. You don't have to put all the visualizations in one space, but I'm a bit of a crammer, so I like to put everything or most of the things I'm trying to show in one space. And also this is because, all of this tied to the title of my visualization page, which is revenue and profit trend. So I really want all the visualizations to sit in one page, and that's why I'm trying to adjust the size. But if it doesn't work for you or you want to see something different, you can spill them into 2 pages. All right, so let me try to adjust this as well. So you can see that this is still top 10, but what do I do to change to bottom 10? So this is active. Remember we learned how to know this is active. You see this rectangular gray rectangles at the side. That looks as if you want to crop something, but yeah, that's how you know it's active. So how do I make it bottom 10? I'm also going to go to my filters pane and then click on country. And then you already have top 10, but this time I want to show bottom 10. So I'm going to go to this arrow here, click, and then click on bottom. And then you have the 10 already there. Is the value I want to show the bottom 10 by is total revenue, so that's fine. So I'm just going to click on apply filter, and you can see the change there. So it's simple, very easy to do, nothing difficult. So if I had to create a new visualization, I'll have to start to change the title, change this and that, and I don't want to change it. So I'll just copy and paste and then make a few changes so that I can get what I'm looking for. So now you can see the top 10 countries. This is actually bottom 10. This second visualization is bottom 10. All I have to do is go and change the title. So this is the title. To change the title, we're going to go to general, right? So this is general, and I'll go to title. And then instead of top, I'll just have bottom there. So bottom, yes. And that's it there. Voila. So you have it there. You can see the bottom 10. So this is Cambodia, this Switzerland, this Germany, this is Georgia, this is Luxembourg, United Kingdom, Russia, Kazakhstan, Turkey, and Iran. Right, so you can increase the size of this bar chart, but this is where I actually want to put my insights, right? So, well, it depends on how you want to see this, but this is how I want to show my visualizations. So the next thing I'd like to show is the trend. So to show a trend, I usually like to use a line graph. So let's go back to where we can see all our visualizations. So this is all the visualizations that we have here. You can select more if you click on get more visuals, but for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to focus on these visualizations. Right, so I'm going to put in my line. Okay, make sure this is not active. So I click out. So put in my line chart. Right, and I think that's actually where I want it to sit. So let it just sit there. So looking at my line chart now, I want to put in the top 10 countries by revenue and profit, right? So I want to see the trend between the across revenue and profit. So it's pretty much almost what we did in the bar chart, but this time we're using the lines and we're dealing with revenue and profit at the same time. If you look at your visualizations here, you can see the x-axis, you can see the y-axis, you can see the secondary y-axis. As we go, you'll see how I'll use the secondary y-axis and how to use it. So the first thing I want to show on my x-axis is the countries. So I check on countries and it goes right in. Then what do I want to see on my y-axis? I want to see the total revenue there. It goes right in. So you can see all the countries. You can see it's showing a trend already. So now I also want to see profits at the same time, and that's where profit will go in the secondary y-axis. So I'm going to click on total profit. It doesn't go in the secondary y-axis, so I'm just going to drag it and put it in the secondary y-axis. So you can see what you can see this now. So the one in the light blue is revenue and the dark blue is profit. Remember, you can change these colors, but for me, I think it's distinct enough. Well, you can change these colors if you want. So something I'll do here is just to change the title here. Okay, so we have total revenue there. Okay, then we have total profit here. Remember, I always like to change the title of these things. So perfect. So we have that there. So, but what we don't have now is top 10. So we have all the countries. We have the profit and revenue trend, but this is for all the countries. Right. So what I'm going to do is to go to my filter pane and then go to country and then go to basic filtering, click on top 10. Yes, I'm typing 10. So this value is by total revenue. I apply my filter, and there I have it. So you can see the top 10 countries by revenue, and you can also see the profits. So you can really tell, wow, Rwanda happens to be the most profitable, or rather, the highest revenue generating country. However, it's not the most profitable. So as a data analyst, as a data scientist, we need to look at this chart and say, okay, what makes Serbia more profitable? So these are the importance of having visualizations. You can't necessarily see this just by looking at tables or an Excel sheet. You need this type of visualization to help you read insights, discover new things, in your data. So what I'm just going to go on to do now is just make adjustment, customize my chart. If you look at the secondary y-axis, this measure here is in million. I think it should be in billions. I'm going to make changes there. I'm also just going to try to make changes to the title as usual. Then I'm going to put in some markers. You see what I'm saying as we progress. So let me just go to format your visual so we can get started with visualization. So for my x-axis, I also do not want to see country. In your own case, you might want to say it, but I don't think it's necessary. I think that the title already shows that it's by country. Or whatever title I'm going to put in there, you already see that it's top 10 countries by total revenue and profit. So you can see that my x-axis already, or what I have on the x-axis is the list of countries. So I don't think it's important to have it again in the title. So I'm just going to take that out there. One thing I can do is to go to my y-axis and make the title there just a little bolder so it matches with the rest. So where is it now? This is my y-axis. I go to title, I click on title, I click on bold. I do want to increase the font size, so I think I'll just leave that there. So that's all I want to do to my y-axis. The next thing is let's use the markers just before we go to data labels. So this is what we call markers, right? So you can see this round small circles on the lines. You can use different shapes, but I just like to stick with circles. So you can use a square shape, you can use a triangle shape, you can use a cross. Next, this X looks like barbed wires, but I'm just going to stick with circle. You can also increase the font size, but I think it's fine for me. So you can make it 6, you can make it an 8, it depends on you, but I think a 5 is good for me. So I'm just going to stick with 5. So that's that for the markers. You can also change the colors of the markers, as you can see here, but it's not necessary. So I'm just going to leave it there. The next thing I want to do is to put in the data labels. You won't be able to just read the numbers, in your want to be able to read the numbers. Although they seem a little clumsy, and I think that's because for the total profit you have the measures in millions rather than in billions. But I like to say this because it's very difficult for you to read this. You can't really tell without the data labels what the measures actually are. So that's why I'm including the data labels. I'm just going to make some adjustments to the values. So data labels are here, but I can recognize the fact that the secondary axis, that's the total profit, is showing in millions. So I'm just going to quickly go there and make that change. So this is where I have secondary y-axis. So I'm going to click on values. These are values, and then I'm going to click on display units. So rather than millions, I'm going to just click on billions. So you can see that everything is changed, and yes, it's the way I want it. So the last thing I'd like to see change is the title of my visualization. To do that, I'm going to go to General and change the title. So the title here is Top 10 Countries by Revenue and Profit. So just going to put that in, Top 10 Countries by Revenue and Profit. Simple. That way. I think it's already bold. No, it's not. So I'm just going to make it bold and then increase the font size to 15. So that's what I want to see, and that's what I have there. I can see that for total profit, it's not bold. So I'm just going to go back to my visual, go to secondary y-axis because that's where my total profit is in. And then I'm going to just make it bold. No, not the values. It's the title I'm going to make bold. Yes, so perfect. So this is what I want. Okay, so now we can see that trend for top 10 countries by revenue and then by the profit. So now I want to see bottom 10 countries by revenue and by profit. So what am I going to do? I do want to do the same customization, right? So I'm just going to do Control Copy and Control Paste. So I'm going to move the size here, right? Yeah, I'm gonna move the size here. And as before, like what I did to the other visualization, right? I'll come to my filter. So instead of top countries, I'm going to do bottom. So I'm going to come to this place where we have top, choose bottom, and then click on apply filter. So you can see that, things have changed and it's looking a little different. Right. So this is basically our visualization. I want to be sure that this is all that we had for today. Yeah, I think that's everything that we're going to visualize today. What I'm just going to put in is the insights, right? The insights I uncovered for this is really long, so I'm not just even going to spend time, going back and forth, right? So I've already copied it somewhere, so I'm just going to copy and paste it here, and then we can look at it together. Okay. So just trying to make some adjustments. Right. So now to our insights, let's do the text box. Remember, you can use the text box to put in your insights. I want my insights at the very base of this page. So I'm just going to put it down here and then extend it to the end so that it sits in well. I think I put the insights here already. I like to write a lot. So, and this is the insights I uncovered. So I don't want to have to, write all of this because it will take some time in the video. So I'm just going to copy and paste it here. It's quite a lot. Let me just quickly save first. Okay. All right. So I just need to adjust because this is a lot of insight I uncovered. So let me try to readjust this. Yes. Yeah. So you can do this across two pages, like you said earlier. I just like to have everything in because all of these visualizations are associated with the title, revenue and profit trend. So I want to show everything here. So these are the insights I uncovered, and like I said in the last video, insight is generally just describing what your visualization is saying, right? And according to my own insights, yours could be different. But this is what I uncovered. So Sub-Saharan Africa has is the highest generating revenue with 173.56 billion, followed by Europe and Asia. Sub-Saharan Africa and Europe revenue represents more than half of the revenue of total number of regions. You can see here, Sub-Saharan Africa has 21.6% of total revenue, and then you have Europe having 1.71 five, sorry, 1.71.54 billion. So altogether, those percentages make more than half. Okay, the top three countries by revenue are Rwanda, Maldives, and Namibia. No country from North Africa was represented in the top 10. The bottom three countries, Kazakhstan, Turkey, and Iran. You can see here. Let me move here so you can see it. Kazakhstan, Turkey, and Iran. Although Europe is the second generating region, there's 6 European countries in the bottom 10 list. You can see all of them here. So that makes you start to wonder, what's happening? Because there's no sub-Saharan African country in the bottom 10, right? So it starts to, help you start to think around, what's happening in these regions? How can we make it better? What can we recommend for these regions? So no country from Sub-Saharan Africa, Australia and Oceania, Central America and Caribbean, and North America are represented in the bottom 10 countries. Comparing revenue and profit trends across the top and bottom 10 countries, Serbia turns out to be the most profitable country, followed by Rwanda and Australia. For bottom 10 countries, Cambodia is the most profitable and the highest revenue generating country. That's for the bottom 10 countries, right? And then it's however interesting to see that Iran is the second most profitable country, even though it ranks the lists. So I mean, Iran is second most profitable country in this bottom 10 list. And then looking at my visualization, I've just realized that I did not change the title of this. So I'm just going to go to where I have visualizations. I'm going to go to general, where's general? Yes. And then go to title. And I'm going to change this to bottom. So make sure to ensure that your titles align, especially when you copy and paste in my own case, so that you're not giving the wrong information from your title. So this is our visualization for today. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. My email address is in the description link, right? And yes, I'm going to be by next week. I will show, or I'm going to be uploading a video for the next series of visualizations. So thank you so much for sticking with me. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for subscribing. To have a lovely, lovely week ahead. Yes. Bye bye, everyone.